The NFL playoffs have been preset, and now the matchups have been announced. So Sunday night, Washington is heading to Tampa, eh, and it's going to be a 3-6 matchup of how the playoffs ended up. So we're going to spend a little bit of time real fast and talk about all the matchups and the way the game could play out. And I'm just going to jump right into things and start off with what my number one takeaway might be. It might be who wins the rushing battle, wins the game. Tampa Bay's coming in with the number 4 ranked uh, rushing offense, which keep in mind last year they were ranked 32nd. So what an improvement by Tampa Bay's offense, both the O line and the running back position. So they're ranked fourth at 149 yards per game. Washington's defense is ranked 30th at 137 yards per game given up. And then inversely, Tampa's defense is ranked fourth, allowing only 97 yards a game, while Washington is in just a much different situation rushing. I think that might be the number one factor right there in the game is who can run the ball better than anybody else. Devin, we'll let you go with you. And what do you think is going to be the number one factor of the game?
I'm 100% with you. I think that's going to be the number one factor. But I also am going to put in time of possession. If you can keep the ball away from Baker Mayfield, who is red hot right now, same with Jaden Daniels. If you can keep the ball away from them, you can win the game no matter what side of the ball you're on. But I would like to say for Washington, the way that they need to win the game is by running zone options, read options, runs, exactly what did against Tennessee, who was the number 2 rush defense in the league. And that was the only time they really showed that they could run against a good rushing defense. And with Tampa, they're going to pick apart Washington's defense no matter what they do. It just depends on if Washington can get those turnovers that they haven't gotten in the past few games.
Will Lattimore play defense for Washington? If he's back there, then they have somebody they can put on Evans. If he's not back there, then Baker throws for 350. Evans catches 180 to 190. There'll be 4 pass interference penalties against Washington, 6 holding penalties against Washington, and it'll be a very bleak afternoon or night. If he plays, then we have somebody to go against him, and then maybe we'll get Tampa off the field, and then our magician, our Magic Johnson version of the 21st century, Jaden Daniels, will take over and deliver us from evil in Tampa.
I uh I can't help but make this joke and reference. It seems like every time either one of these teams has something going good, all of a sudden they go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, Kimasabi, let's put on the brakes and let me show you how bad we can also be." So, Phil, if one of these teams is going to lay an egg, who's more likely to come out and just have a bad first quarter or first half?
It's definitely Washington. I think Tampa, roster wise, is incredibly more talented than Washington. I mean, Washington, it's a miracle they won 12 games this season. They are a year to 2 years ahead of schedule. Um, this is all house money. We're playing with house money here. I mean, this has been incredible. It's an incredible run, but shit, we got lucky to be here. I mean, we beat Chicago on a play that happens once every 50 years. We faced how many backup quarterbacks did we beat this year? All right. I mean, if there was a backup quarterback in the league, we beat the shit out of them. Our best win was against Cincinnati, quite frankly, where we weren't playing against a backup quarterback and we were playing against an actual good quarterback. And in Cincinnati, of course, they don't have a defense. It's just that we're lucky to be there. We're happy to be there. We're going to give them a game. And anytime that Jaden Daniels is in the game, we've got an opportunity to win.
And Devin, it seems like this year more than not, if it's late in the fourth quarter, Phil mentioned the dramatics of the Chicago game. Look at just yesterday, even with backup versus backups. Washington's got a way of pulling these things out, but then so does Tampa. What magic do you see Jaden Daniels providing, or will it even come to that?
I mean, he's shown it multiple times this year that he can, if he has the ball in his hands with 1 second on the clock, there's something that can happen. But I truly don't think this game will come down to a final last second drive. I think it's really one team is going to outshine the other. One of them is going to show up and the other one's not.
I think it's going to come down to next level defense, and so I'm leading you into to talk about your favorite player of all time, at least on the current roster.
Well,
Anybody can get past the if you can get past that first line defense, it's going to come down to the linebackers and the safeties making tackles early in the field and not letting them get down the field. So is this setting it up for Frankie Louvu to have himself a career night if that happens?
I mean, I'd love him to have a career night, but the one that has done it for 13 years now, I'm going to have to go with Bobby Wagner. If anyone's going to step up, it's going to be Bobby Wagner.
Besides Lattimore, is there a front line expectation that they can get on pressure onto Baker? Because Baker's completion percentage this year has been unbelievable. I think he's like number two or number three in the league for completion percentage.
They're going to play man, even if they have to run in, the foul machine juiced. Um, it'll get ugly because they'll die with their boots on. They'll go down playing man against them, and we just don't have without Lattimore. We do not have three cornerbacks that can play man to man on anybody. The team really lacks talent outside the starting 11. They lack a lot of talent on defense. I mean, Bobby Wagner's a Hall of Famer. He might be a step slow, but he's the second best player on the defense. I mean, Luvu's the best player, and they can't even use him how he is meant to be used, which is as a hand on the ground defensive end rushing the quarterback. I mean, that's where he needs to be at. And they need to be walking down Chin into the box because Chin has had a hell of a year this year. And have him down in the box with Bobby Wagner on passing downs and then have a different safety back there. But, Quan Martin's hurt. So we don't have another safety. I mean, I don't want to hear about Forrest and Butler. They're just another missed tackle waiting to happen. So, but I do like number one and I do like number zero. I mean, those two guys have played their ass off this year and they deserve a lot of credit, but it's not them that's getting beat. It's 25 and 24 that's getting destroyed out there. And it makes our pass defense just pathetic. And we get no pass rush from our defensive tackles either. None whatsoever.
Both teams have two of the better guards in the league, and Tampa's got one of the best tackles in the league. But combined, both teams have given up a total of 90 sacks this season. Washington's allowed 50, Tampa's allowed exactly 40 sacks this season. Both of them are going to run. Both of them are going to make plays with their feet. And I think the difference is Baker's going to dive head first, where Jaden's going to be just casually smart and go out of bounds. But I feel like 90 sacks combined, they're going to get tackled in the backfield a few times. And I think that might be some drive stoppers.
Well, if you look at this whole season as a whole for Washington, there should be about 70 sacks if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels. That offensive line looks way better because of him statistically. But you got to also look at our pass game. They overloaded our left side and our center strictly because they weren't there. If they aren't there this week, you got Vita Vea, you got Dion Diablo. I think that's how you say it.
Yaya Diaby.
There we go. I couldn't think about how to say his name, but you have great pass rushers and you have just great players in general. And if Washington doesn't have their starters out there picking up the protections, Buccaneers are going to win that all day. Our offense is going to be like a slug out there.
I just add on to that. If Biotish isn't there playing center, Vita Vea is going to go into the Hall of Fame Sunday night. Bottom line. And is David still the linebacker there at Tampa?
Yep.
He'll live in the backfield. We've got a center and two guards, and that's it. All right. We got a rookie that's not fit to play tackle, playing tackle. And even though I've seen his PFF stats, he's been up and down. He's had some very good games, but he's had some absolutely horribly atrocious games. And I think Jaden makes them all look a whole lot better because, quite frankly, he can outrun anyone on the field. He can outrun the camera. He can outrun light. They can't catch him. They can't do anything with him. But we've got way too many times where our tackles don't even get a hand on the defender. And if Biotish isn't playing center, they can't pick up stunts and they can't pick up blitzes. And all they have to do is run a stunt with a blitz in behind it, and there's a huge hole, and there's a play in the backfield. And it's nothing but Daniels' miracle work that escapes that. It's been a very poor season for that offensive line, in my opinion.
You just
And Tampa's defense, they should have a field day against Washington, quite frankly. They should.
And in the playoffs, coaching matters. And normally I just talk about the head coaches, but here I think both OCs need at least to get to recognize Liam Cohn of Tampa Bay and Cliff Kingsbury of Washington. Both have done some really good play calling, and that's reasons why they numbers 3 and 4 in scoring this season. But we'll go Bulls versus matching up the coaches in an in-game situation. Bowles, who Tampa's diehard fans love to criticize, and are always finding reasons why to hate on him, versus Quinn, who you have your personal history with him down in Atlanta.
I think they're both communicators that get adults to play a kid's game and to go out there and have car crashes every 30 seconds. Because let's face it, a lot of coaches can't motivate guys to go out there and run into a wall every 30 seconds and then get up and do it again. And both those guys they do it. And I think they both can motivate their teams. Their teams play hard. Their teams never quit. And they're going to be in it at the end. And then that's the bottom line. Both teams are always in it at the end. I mean, take a look at Sunday. Tampa was losing to New Orleans and Washington was losing to Dallas. Who won those games? That just shows you all you need to know. You've got two head coaches that motivate their players to give everything they have to win a football game. And that's really what you want as the head coach. You want your brains to be at your coordinators. Kingsbury, I think, has done extremely well with Washington. I'm not so sure about Witt for Washington at DC. I don't know what Tampa. I mean, yes, I know a lot of Tampa fans. Why they complain about Bowles, I have no freaking idea why they complain about Bowles. I would take him 10 out of 10 times. I think he's an excellent coach, an excellent motivator of men, and his teams are always there and competing. Do they win every game? No, they don't. But I mean, shit, how many injuries did they have this year? Most teams throw up a pole and bow out on that one. I mean, they just like throw up the white flag and says, we're done. Yeah. I mean, and to be able to rotate your roster and to get guys off the street to come in and contribute at the NFL is an amazing talent that I think both of these head coaches have. And I think both of them are basically copies of each other. They're the same type of coach, same type of guy.
I'll say they are both great motivators of men, but the only difference is Tampa has more talent, I guess you could say, on each side of the ball to where he doesn't have to do much brainiacking, I guess you could say, with his offensive coordinator, defense coordinator out there to where they can maybe not mess up on this play and they could still win that down just simply due to the fact that they have better players out there.
All right, let's go game picks and end it with that. Line is 3. Vegas doesn't even have a full 3.5. So that means if it was on a neutral field setting, Washington would be a 0.5 to 1 point favored on neutral field setting. I think it's just going to be who can run the ball better and run versus run defense. And as bad as Tampa Bay's run offense was in 2023, their 2024 run offense is just so much better. I'm going to take Tampa, but if Jaden Daniels can scramble for 50 to 60 yards, it wouldn't surprise me if Washington wins. But officially, I'm going to take Tampa Bay with the win. Devin, who you taking?
Honestly, I don't know, but I'm gonna take Tampa 28-21. Final drive. Washington doesn't get it done.
Phil?
This is a 30 to 24 game. Tampa. However, Jaden Daniels is by far the best player on the field come Sunday night on either team. He is the X factor. And if he loads them all on his back and takes them for a ride, he'll have the 30 points and Tampa will have the 24. But if he doesn't pull a miracle and just do his magic, then it's going to be a Tampa win. It's going to be close.